I think animation and animated movies don't get taken seriously as a form of media, and that sucks, quite frankly. There's so many really amazing movies that are not only visually stunning, but have so much depth to the story that they rival any live action movie. Luckily, this is changing bit by bit, though I think a lot of people still have one of two reactions when they see something animated. They either go, this is for children, and compare it to something like Bluey, or I don't know, Paw Patrol, something only children consume and the adults nearby have to suffer through, or like Archer or Family Guy, where it's cartoons for adults but not meant to be taken seriously as a piece of media that can provoke deep emotion or is even worthy of it. And not only do I want to change that in the work I create someday, but also show more serious works of animated movies. So I will start with this movie, Perfect Blue. This also gives me an excuse to watch all the movies I heard about but never got around to, and I can use it as an excuse to make content. I love old animated movies. I think that's in part because they were all hand drawn from what I read, so they have this texture to them, like a sort of grain that feels nostalgic but also comforting in a way, which I'm not certain technology may be able to truly recreate. And that could be my lack of knowledge on animation and art, or my ignorance in technological advances. But as AI becomes a larger part of our lives and encroaches more and more in creative spaces, things that are human will become more and more appreciated, in my opinion. Not to get all deep at the start of the video, but I think early human history, creative types were appreciated and celebrated much like other fields. It was seen as something not everyone can do well, and then society went through a period in which everyone was like, who cares? You can draw, so can a bunch of other people. You're not special. But I think we are on the precipice of a revolution, I guess, to be dramatic about it, where people truly start to appreciate, as odd as it sounds, handcrafted creativity. Like there was a period where all clockmaking was done by hand, then it wasn't, and clocks aren't special anymore. But now we can appreciate the artistry and dedication to the craftsmanship of watchmaking or shoemaking, something not done by a machine. And I think that's nice in a lot of ways. I'm not sure what's happening and I don't know anything about this movie, so I'm just along for the ride, sorta. The movie kind of gets straight into it. There are some knockoff Power Rangers called something, I don't really remember, I forgot, Power Somethings, performing at an amusement park, and a bunch of nerds talking about an idol performance later in the day. Bro, what? They talked about the idol group performing and they even introduced them, but as soon as they run on stage, the title screen appears and the scene changes. I was hype as fuck too. You always see in anime how excited people get about idols and their performances and how serious they are, so I had my glow sticks ready to show my support for Cham. Man, I've had hookups that didn't blue ball be this bad. Oh, never mind, we back in this bitch. Yay, go Cham! So putting on my professional film analysis video essayer hat on, I will say this girl is our main character. I don't know her name yet though. The story seems to revolve around her and her life outside of being an idol. Straight to jail. I don't give a fuck. Anime has such a crazy way of making characters look so grotesque in a very simple way. Like, I don't know what it is about this dude's face, but it bothers the fuck out of me. He has such incel vibes. Also, it has been less than 5 minutes and Mima looks so stressed and like she has no control over her life, and I want to protect her. Like, I don't know how old she is, but I assume she's probably pretty young, and I want to just send her off to school to live a normal life and not be surrounded by weirdos. Mima is leaving Cham to pursue acting, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Already bought a bunch of merch. I stand corrected. I guess Mima is an adult because she has her own apartment, but that doesn't change the fact that I do feel bad for her and want to be her bodyguard and protect her against weirdos. She lives in a pretty shitty apartment, which is crazy to me because she seems to be relatively famous. Like, maybe not like A-list celebrity famous, but like enough to need security and shit. You think she would be paid more. Being an idol seems to be like being an e-celeb. You're famous and have to worry about creeps and stalkers, but none of the money or degrees of separation from regular people like actual famous people. But regular average women have to worry about stalkers and creeps too, so I guess nowhere is safe. RIP. She gets a creepy letter from a fan saying how he's connected to her, and now I'm on high alert watching everyone and everything.
When the imposter is sus.
Then she gets a call of a man breathing and just goes, oh, must be a wrong number.
Wrong number.
Did she grow up in a bubble with no human interaction until she became an idol? How do you get that weird threatening letter about being watched, get a call of a man just breathing, and then you're just like, silly butt dial, hee hee. She gets a fax, but I can't read Japanese, so I'm not sure what it says, but the music changes and she closes her blinds though, so I'm sure it was crazy. Now I'm kind of on high alert from Mima and worried for her. And I was right, the dude from the concert is at the shoot in the background, which is kind of crazy to me because maybe I just have anxiety, but even as a kid, if I saw the same person multiple times in a week, I thought they were following me. But this idol has no object permanence. Like, it's genuinely making me mad. But also brings me to a larger point I have. I can always tell when a woman is written by a man who had little to no women to call on for critique or insight. What I mean by this is there's always small little things that men on average don't go through, so we would ignore. For example, Mima Stalker being just another face in a crowd to her feels like such a man thing or a way of perceiving others. He doesn't register to her because maybe she's busy and in her own world, sure, but I think any woman who has interacted with men on any regular basis would very much take note of a man who has shown up at places she has been more than once, and that's before she received a weird fax and letter, let alone after. And I think that comes from a lack of women or femmes being asked when it comes to writing. I felt very similar when I watched Poor Things or a lot of other media where the woman feels kind of hollow and lacks a lot of nuance, because a male writer wouldn't consider that a lot of women have to exist under conditions in which they need to be on constant alert of every man they come across, even well-intentioned ones. So Mima's lack of that is frustrating. I'm going to chalk it up to it being for narrative purposes, that for storytelling she needs to be in this bubble, because so far she just seems to be existing and people telling her or strongly suggesting how she needs to be, with no control over her life, unfortunately. But it does upset me. Shit's starting to pop off. Mima's manager or agent or whatever opened a fan letter and it exploded, which I have some logistic questions about, like how did they make an explosive that was paper thin and strong enough to harm even a little, but did he not feel anything inside? Whatever, I hope Mima starts to take things seriously after this.
Mr. Tadakoro said not to. He doesn't want us to do anything about it.
Okay, I'm mad at everyone around her because apparently no one went to the police because they told her not to. Like, why? Are they gaslighting this poor girl? What is happening? So Mima goes to the website in the letter her stalker sent, and she at first thinks it's just silly musings of a fan, but quickly realizes that the details in a blog are way too specific and wonders how this person knows this information about her, which based on the angle of the photos in the blog should have tipped you off, but whatever. I'm just glad you caught up with me, Mima. Now we can move accordingly. This motherfucker is creeping me out. I wonder if they're doing a switcheroo where they set him up as to be the creep, but it's actually someone close to Mima you didn't expect. This movie came out in the 90s, so that trope isn't really a trope yet. Mima seems to be becoming increasingly sketched out and anxious in public, and I feel so bad for her. For the second time, something in Japanese has appeared on screen and the music has changed, and I have no idea what it says, so I'm just sitting here like a monolingual dumbass. Like, ooh, what's it say? Was it scaly? Anyway, this is like the third or fourth time dude is showing up near Mima, and I'm starting to think she may be a little dumb, cause like this man has a very distinct face. He looks like fucking Leatherface, and she's just like blissfully unaware, even though she is just slowly becoming more and more anxious. I'm starting to get a little sad. Cham as a duo gets a top 100 single, and Mima is still doing small time roles until a sleazy looking writer producer dude writes in a scene where Mima's character gets assaulted and her personality flips. The woman on Mima's team is against it, but the man is all like, she should do it, she's acting now, etc. And you can look at Mima's face and see how reluctant she is. Probably cause pressure, cause now that she isn't doing the idol stuff anymore, acting has to work out for her. But like, she also didn't decide to stop being an idol. It was a choice made for her. Either way, it just kinda sucks, and I feel a sense of kinship with Mima as someone who just wants to entertain. Like, I'm just a YouTuber, sure, but very often people ask me if I randomly became like a billionaire or came across some money or something of that nature, what would I do? And every single time I tell them this: talking into a microphone, trying to make strangers laugh, and writing. It's all I want to do. And Mima moved to Tokyo, left her home in order to pursue her dreams, and it takes courage. It's bad enough she's still small time and still has to deal with an obsessive stalker, but her not really even being able to control the direction her career is going, in part due to the men around her, is kinda shitty. During the assault, Rumi starts to cry and walks off, and you know what? Of course, it's a very rough scene. Even simulated would be traumatic for anyone. Mima kind of disassociates associates and thinks back to when she was an idol and people adored her, and you know what, that's also very fair. Makes sense in comparison to go from albeit not huge crowds, but a small fan club to minor roles as an assault victim has to be a sort of fall from grace in sorts. As someone who does entertainment adjacent things, I can understand that. I will 100% of the time rather have a small, dedicated fan base that allows me to live comfortably and pay my bills than work my way up with a style of content I don't want to do in hopes it will bring me a larger audience. Once again, why the fuck is no one like, hey, I see him a lot, what's up? Mima comes home and her fish are dead, and that's really the final straw before she breaks down and sobs about how she didn't want to do it but felt as though she couldn't say anything, and my heart breaks a little more. Then she sees her idol self talking to her, and I feel like baby girl is gonna snap. Mima starts to gain popularity and do interviews as an actress, and we switch over to paparazzi talking about her growing popularity and how her fans from when she was an idol won't take kindly to the shift in her persona. What seems to be true is Mima checks the website ran by her stalker pretending to be her, saying things she didn't say, and Mima, poor dear, cracks even more. I think the sleazy writer saying Mima's character will have a personality shift after the assault was probably foreshadowing, because Mima seems to hallucinate her idol self antagonizing her and calling her a slut, that she's tarnished and can never go back to being an idol, which makes me feel such a sense of sadness for Mima, and it's just so sad in general. I recently saw an Instagram reel of a woman doing a silly video, nothing serious, it was completely innocuous, of why she'd make a good girlfriend or something like that, and a lot of the comments were saying how if she'd remove the OnlyFans link she might find a boyfriend, or she's basically damaged goods, and it genuinely infuriated me that there were weirdos who have the audacity to be so rude to a stranger. Why? Because she does sex work? Because people have seen her naked? It pisses me off because that's still a human being who deserves love and compassion and respect, you fucking Neanderthals. Like, I get it, oh, welcome to the internet, people are mean, but it goes beyond that, because like, how dare you try to shame someone for being financially independent? Those same weird incel bros will lick the ground Andrew Tate walks on or praise some dude for doing drop shipping, but you're mad at a woman because someone other than you saw her titties? Wild. And they never have smoke for male sex workers, which is insane to me because someone is buying her OnlyFans. I checked her following after seeing the comments and she had like over 100k followers. You think that's just women supporting women? I don't know, it just pisses me off because I thought the goal of all these Andrew Tate, red pill, hustle culture incel bros was to be your own boss and be financially independent. Is that not what sex workers do? There's women with OnlyFans accounts who make more money than Andrew Tate ever had. Shit, maybe some of them should be slanging meat and yelling link in bio. But no, they're fucking cowards. Anyway, my ultimate point is that it hurts to see women be shamed for expressing sexual autonomy to such an extent that Mima's having panic attacks calling herself a slut and that she's ruined her career over a simulated assault scene. Like, it wasn't even real. I don't know if they used a fake penis or angles, but either way, it was fake. As far as the view is concerned, Mima's a virgin. She isn't any less pure than when we started the movie, but her image isn't because of the simulated sex. And as far as men and the patriarchy goes, that's it. That's all it needs. Mima's a whore now because a man thinks she is, and that's sad. Holy shit, the writer is dead. I didn't know this was going to turn into this kind of movie. He wasn't that good of a writer anyway, because who writes crime drama, sees a note in his parking spot, covered in blood, and just brushes it off? Bro deserves whatever came his way. He wanted to die, apparently. Also, what the fuck is a U double bind? Okay, everyone's starting to piss me off now. Are you fucking serious? You don't think the person who is obsessed enough with Mima to send a fucking letter bomb would also be crazy enough to kill the writer of a show she's on, especially after she went through a scene bad enough that Rima left in tears? Bro, are you serious? Like, I'm genuinely angry. How much money is there to be made on the future and public image of an idol that they will go this far to not contact the police? I'm developing a parasocial relationship with an actress who doesn't exist. One of the members of Cham slut shames Mima, and it makes me genuinely mad, because you're a whole ass adult in the entertainment industry. Like, sure, it's a different part of the industry, but you can't comprehend the sexualization and objectification of women as an idol? What? Cham goes on to do a performance while Mima does a new photo shoot she doesn't really want to do. And to a certain extent, I'm like, Mima, just say something. It's not like no one's on your side. Rima routinely is trying to protect your image, but you're consistently going, it's okay, Rima, I'll do whatever the male figure wants. I don't know his name, nor will I take the time to learn it, because he's a shithead. Mima at this point is lying to herself so bad she is hallucinating her inner thoughts. I've seen this gif a million times on the internet, and I finally know where it's from. I always thought it was Ghost in the Shell for some reason. Mima Mima's obviously upset and angry at where her career is going, and that's fine. It's your career. Advocating for bodily autonomy for women means they should be able to choose what they do with their bodies and not be judged one way or another. If an actress wants to do sex scenes, be seen naked, etc., that's okay. She should be allowed to consent to do that with no pressure or repercussion, just like a male counterpart. But the opposite is also fine. If they want to stay clothed and do more modest, for a lack of a better word, scenes, that's okay too. But one isn't better than the other. It's different and should be based on individual choice. But also at the same time, a part of me feels like, at what point does this stop being worth your mental health, Mima? Like, I get it. I am pursuing my own dreams, and it's writing or bust. Nothing else. It's this or die. And I get that. But what is Mima's dreams? To be famous? To entertain? At a certain point, you have to step back and ask, what is a dream and what is ego, I think. Would I like to someday write a Hollywood blockbuster that does insanely well? Of course. Will I? Maybe. Maybe not. But my goal isn't to write an insanely popular movie. It's just to write movies and TV shows people are going to see and enjoy. And pay my bills. Stalker Man buys up all the magazines with Mima's new photo shoot in it, and assuming he is the guy who killed that writer, this is obviously only going to escalate. And this can really only go one way. His obsession leads him to kill Mima. Because while there is a lot of pressure from her management and herself, Mima as an individual and Mima as a persona can never be the same. No matter how close an entertainer is with their fan base, there always will be and has to be a level of separation for your safety and their safety. And to fill in the spaces an entertainer leaves out for safety, the parasocial mind will fill in the gaps because it has to. Someone being parasocial is not satisfied with just entertainment. It has to be deeper. And because of that tug and pull in their mind, the image the parasocial individual has will never match up one-to-one with who the entertainer is outside of being the token of admiration. And because of this, eventually Stalker Dude would have to kill Mima in order to realize or protect his ideal or perceived version of her intact. A Mima who can do whatever she wants can't exist. Only the Mima who is perfect in his mind can. That's why he posts as her on that website he made. Well, I think I just called it because the posters of idol Mima are talking to Stalker Dude like the Green Goblin mask. Kill that bitch. And telling him how he's the only one who understands and the real Mima is actually an imposter. I know this is a YouTube video, but I make my notes in real time, and I'm upset that no one will give me the credit I deserve for how I just precocked the stalker wanting to kill Mima. Like, sure, there's only but so many directions the story can go in, but goddamn did I pick the right fork in the road. Why did it take her so long to finally notice weirdo at every event and thing she does? Like, for a second I thought maybe he was paparazzi, but no, he is like a master of disguise, because he will be on set as well, and you can't use the argument, oh, he is supposed to be a nobody who doesn't stand out in the crowd, but give him a face like Quasimodo? Fuck out of here. That only works when you don't have a face you can pick out of a crowd, and you can tell that motherfucker is ugly with your eyes closed during an eclipse with a blindfold on and while he's wearing a shiesty. I know it's the 90s, but for the love of God, can we please get Mima a therapist? There's no way people are watching her chase after something that isn't there, and no one is like, here baby, swallow these pills and I promise the idol version of yourself that talks to you and calls you a failure would disappear, along with your sex drive. It's just baffling to me that they are going to such lengths to make sure she gets no negative press, but their lack of addressing the core issues and allowing her mental health to deteriorate this rapidly will also just end up in her causing a news story. Oh, never mind, it was all a dream. That's a played out trope now, but it wasn't when this movie came out, so we'll allow it. Mima has a daydream about when Rima came to visit and literally goes, hey, what's up? You okay? Are you comfortable with everything? And Mima is like, well, maybe the person who pretends to be me online is the real me. And I'm trying to understand what has happened that was so traumatic that has given Mima a dissociative disorder. The assault scene was pretty traumatic, and maybe that was it? I don't know. But it seems to be getting increasingly worse, but she isn't even discussing anything with her other rep, Rumi. She has consistently been on her side, and if I remember correctly, didn't even want her to stop being an idol. But all of this could have been something she hallucinated, because we are immediately brought back to Mima shooting the same scene again, but it isn't raining this time, so I'm not certain. Okay, wait. I'm losing my mind. So Rumi shows up to Mima's house again, wearing the same outfit, but Mima's like, it's good to see you, and Rumi is like, I was just here yesterday. And then Mima breaks a cup, leaving her hands bloody, asking if the blood in her hands is even real. And my first thought is, shit, well, I hope someone shattering a teacup in her hands is enough for them to be like, alright, we gotta get her some fucking help. And we see Mima is slowly losing it and sitting in the dark reading her website. While this is happening, the doctor and the detective in the show Mima has been playing a role in are having a conversation about Mima's character, creating an illusion of the murderer in her mind, and she's the one actually murdering people. And it never even crossed my mind that Mima is the one actually killing people, and it blows my mind, because it's like, well, if that's true, why does she kill a writer and a photographer? Completely understand both of them being creepy scumbags, but if there was any pressure, would it have been initially from your agent who practically demand you go into acting and also do this photo shoot? Like, I don't want to be insensitive, and I recognize that as a man, I am in a blind spot to social pressures of being a woman, of course, and bodily autonomy and sexualization, especially in the entertainment industry. But is it insensitive for me to be a bit confused? Because Mima has just sheepishly said yes to whatever the male rep has said, which I get, but she also has had Rumi this entire time on her side fighting. I assumed Rumi and the male rep are equal in power, but maybe I'm wrong? Though I still don't understand why kill those two people when the root cause is the male rep driving her down a career path she doesn't like or want. Maybe she's taking it out on them because she can't kill, or better yet, fire her rep, I would assume. Like, you know, she's not that big of a star yet. It wouldn't be that easy to find another rep so quickly. I don't know. Mima then wakes up in her room, and if she's killing people, she's really good at it because it's wild she hasn't been caught yet. I know there's less than 30 minutes left in the movie, but I feel like they're going to pull a switcheroo, like how serial dramas like CSI and all those other shows our grandparents watch, how they always have the person they bring and is like supposed to be the suspect or the believed suspect that no one ever believes is the suspect because it's way too early in the show, but also it's too easy to suspect them. Then when it's close to the end, they give you a false positive by making you think, oh, it's for sure this person. Then boom, it was this one all along. I think that's what they're going to try to do, because there's 30 minutes left, and that's plenty of time. Oh shit, she got the bloody clothes. Okay, if she did it, how did she know he was going to order pizza though? I really love how Mima and the character she plays in this show are starting to really blend together. I wonder if the twist is that Mima has been imagining life as an idol, and she was a killer the entire movie. Like, the reality of the character she plays is her real life, and her idol life is a fake one. Wait, so the creepy stalker man does actually exist? I'm so confused. Creepy stalker is attempting to kill and assault Mima because obsession, duh. I can't really show you much of the scene though, because he rips her clothes off and there's obviously nudity. Okay, this movie is sending me on a goddamn roller coaster because she hits him in the head with a hammer, but there's no blood. But also the film crew cuts and starts to clap, and like, I'm tripping out. But also I love how they're doing this. In the beginning we slowly fall into madness with Mima and didn't realize, but now near the end of the movie it's too late to swim to the surface. We are in the throes of it, and it's too late for us to go up for air anymore. Our reality is Mima's reality, and we are no longer able to tell what's real and what's not real, just like her, and we just have to hope it ends soon, just like she does. Bro, Rumi finds Mima with all her clothes ripped, and when Mima goes to show her the body of the stalker dude, it's gone. And Rumi is like, huh, were you dreaming? Well, maybe, but even if it was a dream, maybe you should take her to see a doctor. If her dreams leave her with clothes ripped to shreds, that's obviously a new form of sleep apnea and needs to be studied. What is happening? Someone please go get her some help. Wait. Okay, Mima gets home and calls her male rep, whose name is apparently Todakuru or something like that. I'm not good with Japanese names. And it rings and rings and rings, and you find out he is dead, which, shocking, but the actual shocking part is like the stalker dude exists. Okay, what if Mima is actually like a huge serial killer and simply used some innocent guard who had nothing to do with her really as justification for all of this? Like, what if he's just some ugly dude who's just trying to do his job and Mima's subconscious used him as justification for all of this? A very nice touch in my opinion is the fact that you see all of Mima's fish are dead. I think that is meant to like represent the complete loss of her sanity or whatever was left of it. Holy shit, no way, holy fuck. I knew there had to be some twist, but I didn't expect it to be fucking Rumi. Oh my god, I fucking should have expected it, because while Rumi was driving Mima home,
We're going back to Mima's room.
she said, don't worry, we're going to Mima's room. Not as in like Mima's home, but like, I'm going to take you home, but like Mima's room. So Mima is trying to kill Mima, and like, holy shit, my heart is kind of broken, because I really thought like the one person on Mima's side this entire time was Rumi, but it turns out Rumi was the one who was running the site and telling her fans what to do, because Mima said that someone had failed. What I assume she means by that is that like the stalker was actually a stalker and had set everything up to have the real Mima assaulted and killed, but didn't expect Mima to actually get away and actually hurt the guy or something. Okay, I understand why they did this stylistically, to show the juxtaposition of what I assume Mima Rumi and the viewer sees as this perfect idol version of Mima that is graceful and angelic and just skipping along, but it's so fucking funny to me and completely took me out of the horror of the scene of Mima running down the street yelling for help as Rumima is trying to kill her. Because while all this is happening, in my mind I'm thinking, shit, Mima, I hope you get away. Is this real? What's happening? Maybe all of this is in her head. And then you see Rumima fighting for her fucking life. There's so much happening just as I think Mima fight back. Holy shit, what are you doing? She fights back by pulling Rumima's wig off, which makes Rumima go, oh no, and accidentally stab herself with a sharp piece of glass. And just as I'm like, oh, I see how she's gonna die, get stabbed and hit by a truck, kind of anticlimactic for all of this buildup, Mima saves her. She pushes Rumima out of the way just as she accepts her fate. Rumi ends up in a psychiatric facility and Mima occasionally visits her, and the movie just kind of ends. Final thoughts. Holy shit. I had never seen this movie before and knew very little about it. And I typically avoid older movies because they are typically spoiled by the internet by the time I see them. But nope, I couldn't predict this movie like I can with other movies I've seen. There were twists and turns that felt right. Like I never would have predicted Rumi being the parasocial stalker, which is so heartbreaking because it felt really like out of everyone, Rumi was the one who deeply cared for Mima. So it must be heartbreaking to have that confidant that Mima had be your biggest enemy essentially. How horrible for her. If you haven't seen this movie, I think you definitely should. Like I know by the time you get to this part of the video, the movie is obviously spoiled, but watch it anyway. It's such a pretty and well-made movie, and there's also just visuals to the scenes and the dialogue and just the tension of everything that my talking about can't possibly do justice. I say watch it. Just trust me. Just watch it. And if you've already seen it, watch it again. This movie is so fucking good. Like I love a movie with a twist I couldn't predict. Movies nowadays feel so fucking predictable and I hate it. And I don't mean like, oh, the movie throws curveballs so I can't guess, because that's predictable too, you know what I mean? But like a movie that gives you breadcrumbs, but just as you think you have it all figured out, boom, left field, 10 out of 10. I don't know, I wish I had the vocabulary to delve deeper into how awesome the movie is and how Rumi being the parasocial psycho in the end just was so unexpected for me, because she is such an insignificant but major side character. Like she is there just enough to be important but not too important, which I think is by design. It also puts so much into perspective, like Rumi running away during the assault scene that Mima was doing. That I think is what really set Rumi off, and how there was so much focus on the stalker, but he wasn't the real problem. There's just so much to it, and I'm so glad I watched the movie. Go check it out. Anyway, thanks for watching.